Hey guys, it's Hannah.
Hey, it's Shiloh.
Camila.
And Aubrey.
And welcome back to Mics.and.Mischief, where we will dive into questions and topics that are important to Gen Z. Each week, we will bring you fresh insights, intriguing concepts, and thought-provoking conversations. So grab your headphones, get comfy, and let's get into it.
All right, so for our first segment, we want to talk a little bit about something we found online and thought was kind of interesting. Aubrey, will you let us know what the article's about?
Yeah, so basically, so in Chile, there's this kayaker, and a whale, swallowed him whole when he was kayaking with his dad.
Oh.
And spit him back out.
Is that the whale's way of saying he was not delicious?
No. He tried to pull the Jonas, but...
You mean a Jonah?
Oh, a Jonah. Whatever. No, I actually meant a Jonas brother.
No, I was just going to be like, Jonas
yourself.
Brothers, question mark? Yeah, that's an interesting story. Did it say, when?
February 18th,
Oh.
2025. So it was pretty recent, actually.
Guys, that was days ago.
Yeah.
And this happened in Chile.
Yes.
Guys, that could have been me.
No.
No, just kidding, just kidding.
No, it would not have been you.
Yeah,
The whale would have eaten you. It would not have spit you back out.
Okay,
Oh.
Thanks. Thanks
If
for
I was
that.
a whale, I would eat you, Hannah.
Thanks, Aubrey. All right, so for this segment, we're going to talk about the quote-unquote glow-up myth, Instagram filters versus real life. And basically, the concept of this episode is, are having glow-ups or the ability to have a glow-up actually a real thing, or is it just a myth? Guys, what do you think?
I think glow-ups are actually really possible. If you look back at, photos of me from, a couple months ago to, now, or even, last summer, I feel like I look so different and, in a better way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm definitely someone to testify about having a glow-up. If you look at pictures from me, 3 years ago, you'd be like, oh, that's embarrassing. So, yeah.
I think glow up is subjective because it's maybe you think you looked better at one point in your life than another, but somebody else is but at this point you were very, this stood out or that stood out.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know, a glow up could be an overall just growing up. So what's the difference between a glow up and a growing up? Because
that's true.
When you were a kid, obviously you're not gonna look
right,
fine or hot or
right,
cute or handsome, but when you grow up, when you become
right,
older, then yeah, of course now you're gonna start having those qualities. So is it a glow up or a grow up?
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point because a lot of times I think we mistake growing up for glowing up, but a lot of times I think almost in my case I was just growing up,
Yeah,
I was just a
exactly.
little girl. So I think that's a great point, and I've never really thought about that. I've never really thought about the concept of are glow ups a myth. I always just assumed that they're real. But do you guys think that there are some Instagram influencers or something that maybe this is so weird to think about, and maybe I'm totally off track, but maybe they don't even look like that and they just use filters all the time, so in real life they have a ton of acne or they have a ton of things that the world classifies as not attractive, but you don't know because they're a complete social media presence.
I mean, yeah, filters can obviously make a person's skin look flawless, adjust facial features, and even alter body shapes. And so I feel the version that they present themselves isn't accurate,
right?
Or reflection of real life, a body lived. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You can tell. I feel you can tell even to some extent. Or sometimes we just get so involved in social media where we're oh my gosh, this person is literally so pretty. This person is really so handsome, and this is just what they look like. This is them.
Yeah.
And it's 3 filters.
Shiloh, do you have any ideas?
I think glow-ups are real. I mean, in a sense where, for example, a really big glow-up is, okay, I know it's also growing up.
Right.
But 2 years, okay, I've seen people where 2 years beforehand, not gonna lie, they look so chopped. Their acne's on peak. Their hair is, not it. So, I believe glow-ups are real, considering how people can change both. I feel glow-ups are both appearance and personality.
Yeah.
Because, you could glow up mental health-wise, and you could also glow up physical-wise.
I think, though, growing up also comes with growing up because, when you're a kid, who mainly dresses you?
Okay, but I do want to point out, some people are grown up and they don't look like
Okay,
they had a
yeah,
glow up.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
this might
But
not
do they
be
have
true
a
for
glow up
everyone.
because, they now like, oh, their hair is
Like-
on point.
like some
like
kind
their
of glow.
dress, like the way
Yeah.
that they dress. But is that just not part of growing up? Is that like
Yeah.
finding your style?
Yeah, maybe
Because
it
I
is.
completely dress differently from when I was 11-year-old
So
Camila
true.
did not know how to dress.
Oh yeah.
And
That's so
16-year-old Camila is still figuring it out. I'm not gonna lie.
No, and I think Shiloh brought up a great point, which is that glow ups are not always like what you see on the outside, but sometimes like people have mental health glow ups, or they have glow ups of like who they are. You know, like they change the way that they talk to people, they talk about people, and I think that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really underestimated, honestly. Aubrey, do you have any opinions?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I feel like most people on the internet, they like their like ideal form of like glowing up is like what they look like. But I feel like the glow up that really matters is on the inside. Honestly.
Said it.
Like, I don't
It's a
know,
bar.
like if people are like rude and they just come off like not a good person, then I'm not gonna want to talk to them, you know? And
Right.
it's like, I don't know, I feel like Hannah did not used to like me at all. Not last year Hannah did not like me, guys.
Guys,
But
this is
New year.
for the listeners, I don't think I liked hardly, like, I didn't know Shiloh, but Camila and Aubrey, I did not like them last year. Like, it really had nothing to do with them.
Really?
I just, like, don't like people that I typically, like, have just met. And, like, it did have things to do, especially with one of them. Other people around me were saying bad things about her, and so that was, like, intercepting my view of her. But it really, like, it didn't have anything to do with her, you know?
Wait, who?
You got a name
Me?
drop now.
And so, anyway, yeah.
I think
Wow.
Hannah grew because Hannah had a shock coming to Central. I'm not even gonna lie. I
Yeah.
saw the shock, man. It's like in swim.
Oh, yeah, Camila saw that. Yeah, guys.
Hannah was like, what?
For context, I was a private school kid before Central, so I like it was definitely a culture shock, and I forget that Camila saw that. But guys, I came here and like the first 2 weeks, I was like, "Is this real?" Like I was like, "What is happening?"
She came
right
here
now?
and she was like, I need a bottle of holy water to spray on these kids.
No, literally, I would walk through the hall and hear kids say like the N word, and I was like, "What? I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like
But
scared out of my mind.
Actually, isn't it kind of sad how we become accustomed to it? Like
it
now,
is.
like the N word or like, you know, curse words or like those types of things, because we've been exposed to them in a
Right.
school setting for so long, it has been, what's the word for it? It's like,
normalized,
yeah, it's normalized. It no longer bothers us.
right?
And do you think that like before it would have bothered you?
Oh, absolutely. Like, if I would have came out of that private school, hearing some of the language that I do in the hallways day to day, I would have been horrified. And I still am horrified in some ways, but it's absolutely normalized.
Yeah.
Does
like-
that make sense?
Yeah, like now you're like, I mean, gross, but
Like, it happens every day, you know?
yeah. Aubrey, what do you think?
Oh no, I definitely agree. Like I hear some crazy things being said, and it's not even like just in the hallways, like even like in the classroom.
Oh, absolutely.
And like most of the teachers, like the teachers normalize it too, because the teachers they don't care. Like for some reason the teachers won't say anything about
That's
it.
so true.
And-
And I wish our teachers did.
Yeah. I mean, to a point, it's
Yeah.
it like
Sure.
you know everything gets to a point, and it's like
Sure.
it's got to that point.
Right, and I think that, by the way, if you're a teacher, like, you have a responsibility to keep the students in your classroom safe, whether that looks like, you know, telling someone that we don't use that kind of language here, or we don't talk like that about other people. And I'm not even saying gossiping. I'm saying, like, crudely or, like, almost explicitly talking about someone else.
Yeah. No,
That makes
that's
sense.
like
I feel like
a lot of people do that.
I definitely feel like there was a time, plenty of times, like just in my freshman year, where a teacher should have stepped up for me, especially because they were hearing some of the things that students were saying crudely. And I'm just sitting there like, now I look back on it and I was like, dude, I was like 14.
Right.
And you're a grown man, right? And there are like 4 other boys saying this stuff, and you're not going to do anything?
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna, as a teacher, you don't feel any sort of responsibility to tell also people who are way older to stop speaking in such a crudely way, not just at school, but just as a person, just to a person in general.
Right, but I think that also crosses the line between, like, teachers aren't supposed to be your parents. They have a responsibility in the classroom, and that responsibility is to keep the classroom a safe and healthy environment so that students can grow and learn. I think if something's hindering that, then they have a responsibility to take care of it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the line between, like, you know,
Parent and teacher?
right?
Well, I feel like you said, like, it's just kind of like what they can control in the classroom, they should. And then, like, how they act at home isn't their business. But when they're, like, bringing it to school, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when they should step in.
There was a teacher I had one time, and he said something, and he was like, don't do that here, but, like, guys, at home, I do that all the time. And I'm like, I didn't want to know, like, that kind of personal aspect about you. Like, I really don't care. And, like, I would never have said that, but I'm like, I just lost respect for you because, like, you're making this less of a professional relationship, and now you're making this, like, friends,
personal.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't want to have that kind of relationship with you.
Yeah, I think teacher, mentor, and then they're like parent, friend, best friend. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. And it's hard to, like, figure out where that line is sometimes.
And I definitely feel like as a student, I don't need to be the one to figure out where that line is. You're the adult. You
Yeah.
figure out how you're gonna have a relationship with a minor in your classroom.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it is great for us, you know, as minors to learn of what healthy relationships with adults look like. And also, I do want to point out, I don't know if you guys know about this, but last year at Central, there was, I don't know who it was, but someone, like, there was an adult, like, teacher, and the student was talking about transitioning, and the teacher, like, took the student home. Like, they rode in the teacher's car and stuff, and they took them home, like, trying to help them, essentially.
Okay, so that teacher was mine.
Oh.
She.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. We don't have to put this in. Who knows who it is?
I forgot her name, but she was my teacher last year, and she wasn't present for literally the second semester.
That's crazy.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Is that her?
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, I've heard rumors about what her teacher relationship is with this certain student. And
Wait. Before we continue, is this, because I feel like it's important to add, is this rumored or is this confirmed?
No, like, this actually happened. I saw it on the news, and my teachers were talking about
yeah, my teachers were talking about it too.
Okay, so confirmed teacher gossip.
it. Like, confirmed, like
News
an
and
act.
teacher.
Like, it was confirmed. Like, it
All right.
happened.
It was confirmed
Alright.
that they took a
Because
student.
this is
home.
not gossip hour, this is facts hour. This is teaching. Continue.
Shiloh?
So they were there for the first 2 weeks they were present for the first 2 weeks of starting the second semester. And then I'd always see that specific kid in their classroom. Like, they're always there and they're always talking with the teacher. And I seen how close they are, and I thought it was just a type of teacher-mentor relationship where perhaps the teacher was giving good advice or something. But I didn't really know, because mind you, I'm just an outsider.
Right.
So you're taking this with a grain of salt.
Right.
But I'd noticed how close they are. But then sooner or later, the teacher just dropped off the face of earth, as well as the student. So I was just like, where are the both of them? And then I've heard, you know, rumors and gossip going around about how this specific teacher had decided to take a student away from their family because that family didn't accept how that student was, I think, sexuality wise. But okay, I'm not sure if this is facts or confirmed, but that's from what I remembered and from what people were talking about at that time. So
We do know it happened. We don't know why it happened.
yeah.
So that is what we.
I think we pretty much do know what happened also, because I not only heard this from teachers, but I also, like, saw it and heard it on the news, which is that the teacher was essentially trying to help the student transition or whatever it was. They're essentially trying to help the student.
Yeah, but I think that student's parents weren't accepting of it, so I
Right.
think-
But also,
I don't know, but yeah.
That's not your responsibility.
It isn't.
As
So
an adult.
the teacher
No.
definitely crossed a boundary between
100%.
their relationship, a huge boundary. So it brought up problems such as, you know, like going to the extent of taking that student home or away from their guardian.
And
So,
my
yeah.
question is, like, what did the teacher think the results of that would be? Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
No,
Okay,
actually.
that teacher has always had a past of not following the rules.
Oh yeah.
So they're like a little wild. I don't know. That's like the best way I could put it.
Yeah.
Like they sometimes go against authority. So I think this was also an act of defiance when they decided to take.
Sticking it to the man.
Yeah.
So just
the
not
teacher
caring.
home.
Well, if it's the teacher that I was thinking Shiloh was referring to, she also like hit a student because hit her AirPods out of her hand. I don't know.
That's interesting.
But that's why she was gone for 2 weeks and then came back.
Oh.
Well, we
And
know
then-
she was gone for 2 weeks. I'm not against it. I just don't want to talk about things that I don't know myself for certain. So you want to make sure that if you're talking about something, if you have something, especially if it's negative against a person, you don't want to be saying it and not knowing if it's fact or not.
Yeah, you don't want to say the wrong.
I want to know why it's not talked about enough or strained enough, why a relationship between a teacher and a student, like, is always abused.
Yeah.
There are so many news reports of like teachers who took students home with them, or students, and teachers who were having an inappropriate relationship. And obviously a student has a responsibility, but to an extent, because this is a minor. This is a child.
I don't think it's talked about enough, because I think that's what the media wants to portray.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't agree with your statement that like they're always abused, because there's countless teacher-student relationships that are healthy that the media doesn't talk about.
Exactly.
And
no.
I think we, like, in the media, a lot of times we see these stories that they hyper fixate on, and they don't tell about the students and the teachers that have great relationships and that are successful. They only say the ones that are newsworthy, if that makes sense.
Well, I feel like it happens a lot here though. Like I see like a lot of kids that are like really like close with teachers, and like I try to be like friends with all my teachers. Like I talk to them, like like talk to them in the class, but like I don't come like from my class to their class just to hang out with the teacher and like
Sure.
like.
But
I've personally heard teachers, like, in my years of going to school, to say, not class specific to Central, but where like teachers would call their male students like some inappropriate nickname, like, oh, what's up, baby? Like, what?
Oh yeah.
Like, what? You know what I mean? If a male teacher had said that to a female or to me, locked up in jail, would never hear
That's
from
really
him
interesting.
again. But I feel like, why are female teachers getting away with it with male students?
I think that's interesting. I've never had like that personal interaction with teachers. I think it's also hard to judge, like, especially from an outsider's perspective looking in, if a teacher's relationship with a student or vice versa is acceptable, because we really don't know, even if that's just something that we see on the outside. And maybe that's a cultural thing. Like, some cultures like talk to people like that.
I guess,
so
but this was
I really
in
don't know.
America. We are not that type.
All these things being taken into consideration, just for listeners, by the way, whenever we were, thinking about the episode topics that we were going to do, we actually talked briefly about how we all have really great relationships with our teachers. And so these are not things that we've necessarily experienced, but we thought that we'd talk about, perspectives that we might not have, and maybe see where other people are coming from, and talk about issues that we might not have, but that we're aware occur in our culture.
Well, that's going to wrap up this podcast episode. Let us know any comments, questions, or even possible segment ideas you would like to hear. Also, if you would like to be featured or join us for an episode, you can find the link on our social media.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. Until our next episode, keep exploring, stay curious, and thanks for being part of the Mics and Mischief community. See you next time.